Hello, welcome to this channel. My name is Enoch. Today we will continue our series on networking and we'll be looking at DHCP. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. It is a protocol that operates at the 7th layer of the USI model. It dynamically allocates IP addresses and other network configuration parameters such as subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS server to devices on the network. In every computer on the network, we have an IP address. An IP address can be allocated using two ways. One is a manual or static method, and the other one is the automatic or dynamic method. In manual method, you have to open the computer's network configuration page and manually put in the IP address, the network mask and other, network parameters. And this can be cumbersome when you are dealing with a large network with a lot of computers. You can also make the mistake of allocating same IP to more than one device, which will make those devices unreachable in the network. So manual method is prone to error and time consuming. And that brings us to the dynamic or automatic method of assigning IP address, which involves using DHCP. A dynamic method is a situation where a computer gets its IP address automatically through a DHCP server. DHCP automates IP address allocation. It ensures no duplicate IPs are assigned in the network. It handles large-scale network effortlessly, and it supports reusability of IPs with lease mechanism. Now, talking of lease mechanism, this helps to ensure that DHCP server do not run out of IP. IP address is not given to any device on the network, it is leased. IP address of any computer leaving the network is sent back to the DHCP pool of IP. A lease is the amount of time an IP address can be used by a computer. After a certain period of time during the lease, the computer will send a signal to the DHCP server to renew its lease of the IP address. In other words, it's telling the DHCP server it's present on the network and his IP address is still being used. So if a computer is removed from the network, it will not be able to renew its lease and its IP address will go back to the DHCP server pool of IP addresses. And talking of component of DHCP, we have the DHCP server, which is a central system that manages and distributes the IP addresses. We have the DHCP client, which is a device or system that is requesting network configuration. We have the DHCP relay agent, which is an agent that forwards DHCP messages between clients and servers in different subnets. We also have the IP address pool, which is the range of IP addresses managed by the DHCP server. We also have the lease time, which is the duration for which the client is allowed to use the assigned IP address. The lease process ensures that when the device is off the network, the IP address go back to the DHCP server for usage for another device. DHCP is a service. At home, it is built in your modem or router. In large enterprises, it will run on a server. It can be installed on a Linux or Windows machine, and after installation, configuration has to be set. And let us look at this configuration for an example. On a Linux machine, you have to install the DHCP server. If you are using a Debian based or Ubuntu machine, Linux machine, then you'll be using apt to install it. If you are using a CentOS or Fedora, you'll be using yum to install it. So for Debian, you'll be using apt install, and the package name. And once you install it, it will create a configuration path. So you can go to your configuration file, which is your etc file on your Linux machine, and go and set the configuration. The subnet that you're looking at there, the 192.168.1.0, that's the subnet. And the network mask or the subnet mask, this is a /24 subnet mask, and it means that 24-bit is used for the network and 8-bit is used for the host. The range of IP addresses for these for these DHCP is from 192.168.1.100 to 192.168.1.200. So that gives us 100 IP addresses possible. And you have the option router, which is your default gateway. You have the domain. You have the DNS server. You have the default lease time, and you have the max lease time. And you will start the service. And on Windows 2, you can install the DHCP, and you can configure the scope, the option, and the lease through the DHCP management console. And let's look at how DHCP works. DHCP operates based on a 4-step process called DORA, and the D stands for discovery. The client, which is the computer that is requesting for an IP address or network configuration, broadcasts a DHCP discover message to find available DHCP server. And the host stands for offer, where the DHCP server responds with a DHCP offer, which includes an IP address, subnet mask, lease time, and other configuration details. The R stands for request, where the client replies with a DHCP request, to accept the offered IP and parameters. And the A stands for acknowledgement, where the DHCP server confirms the lease by sending a DHCP pack, finalizing the process. So let's look at an example. There is a DHCP process that happens during connection, to your internet service provider. Manually assigning IP addresses to every device on the internet is impossible. But with DHCP built into your internet service provider router or modem, assigning IP address becomes easy. So most laptops and other devices are typically configured, by default to obtain their IP address dynamically using DHCP. And the laptop network settings are configured to obtain an IP address automatically. And when the laptop connects to a Wi-Fi network, it sends a DHCP discover message to the network. And the Wi-Fi router or any other DHCP server in the network will respond with a DHCP offer. The offer includes an available IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, and other configuration details. And the laptop will send a DHCP request to accept the offered configuration, and the DHCP server finalizes the process with a DHCP acknowledgement, assigning the IP address to the laptop for a specific lease duration. The laptop now has an IP address and is connected to the network, and you can check these on your laptop. If you bring up your CMD, if you are using Windows, you can open your command prompt, and you can simply run ipconfig /all, and you can see wireless line. You will see your Wi-Fi. You will see DHCP enabled, yes, you will see, and you will see the IPv4 address that was allocated by the DHCP. You see the subnet mask, you see the lease obtained, you see the lease expires, you see the default gateway, you see the DHCP server, so that's your DHCP practically at work on your laptop or on your device's Wi-Fi. So that is that for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.